Welcome everyone to our first Coachology in 20 session, the season or the series where we go through coaching concepts in 20 minutes. Now, if you're a new coach that's new to coaching, grab your pen, grab your pad, take some notes. This is going to be a very informative session for you. If you're an experienced coach, however, then please get your fingers ready because I'm going to be inviting your wisdom into the room. So if you are tuned in, let me know you're here. Please say hi. I would love to greet you. Now, this is a challenge for me. I like to talk. I've got a lot of information. Sometimes my mind goes a little bit crazy at times. So to deliver a coaching concept in 20 minutes is going to be a challenging task for me, but I'm here to do this. I've got lots of information for you. So looking forward to what we've got in store for today. Now I can see there might be a slight issue with the stream because this hasn't hit anywhere just yet. If you're tuned in, please let me know you're here so I can see and that I know the stream is live. Wonderful. So we've got Adele tuned in, so we have hit the platforms. That is fantastic. Now I'm just I thought this little background music would have been good. It's slightly distracting me. And since I'm on a time limit, I'm just going to turn it off. So give me one moment. That's a bit better. So hopefully you can hear me clearer and the music isn't a distraction. So what are we looking at today? So we're going to be looking at the intro to coaching. So how many people in the audience are new to coaching? How many of us are experienced coaches? How many of us are just maybe 6 months, 8 months into a journey, maybe studying, training to be a coach? Let me know your level of coaching as you're watching this. Even if you're watching the replay, just put your level in the comments box, and any questions that you have as we go through today's content, that would also be great. So put them in the comments box and I will get back to you after the session. We're here to learn, we're here to grow, we're here to look at what coaching is. So that is my first question. My first question of today, for those of you who are new to coaching, sit back, relax, get ready to take some notes. But for those of you who are experienced, those of you who have been practicing coaching for some time, how do you explain what you do to your clients? How do you define coaching to those potential clients when you're delivering presentations, when you're talking to people about coaching? How do you define it? Let me know in the comments box. How do you define coaching? Going to give it a moment to see if anyone's brave enough to be the first to attempt the definition. Because the issue we've got with our profession is there's so many misconceptions of what coaching is and what coaching isn't. There's a lot of people call themselves coaches without any certifications, without accreditation, and what they're actually doing is not coaching. So in this Coachology series, it's about breaking down those assumptions and helping people truly understand what coaching is. So if you are tuned in, my first question is, if you're a new coach, get ready to take some notes. I've got a definition for you in a second. If you're an experienced coach, how do you explain what you do to your clients? What great niche way have you found to connect with potential clients? Drop it in the comments box. I'm going to come back to those in a second. It's quite a quiet session, which you expect for a 5 p.m. on a Monday. But essentially, there are 3 core elements to coaching. The first is an point A, where our client is, what's going on for them right now. The second element is a point B, C, D, or wherever it is that they want to get to. This doesn't have to be a big target, doesn't have to be a big goal. This could be something as simple as overcoming a challenge or a problem that's occurring in their life right now. And then we need the third element is a series of conversations to get us there. So in a nutshell, we can define coaching as moving people from point A to point B, C, D, or wherever it is that they want to get to through a series of constructive conversations. And that's the 3 elements. The first element is we need that point A. And this is where true coaching comes into play. Now, a coach that is calling themselves a coach but isn't actually a coach will define that point A for you. They will tell you things like where you are, what you should be doing, and all this sort of stuff. And then they'll say, right, you need to do X, Y, and Z to get to B, C, and D. Now, as a true coach, as a professional coach, we don't do that. We help you define, we understand, we ask questions to understand your point A. We bring in tools, guidance, framework into our sessions to help you move to where you want to be, which is the second element, that B, C, and D. And again, you are responsible for defining what those points are. The coach doesn't set that for you. But the next thing we need to look at is what makes a coaching conversation. What makes a coaching conversation? That's my next question to the audience. What makes a coaching conversation? What's the difference between, so if you're an experienced coach and you're tuned in right now, how do you explain what a coaching conversation is? How does a coaching conversation differ than a conversation or a chat we have with our friends, our family, and people we meet on a daily basis? And for those of you who are Coaching Minds coaches, this is a little bit of a test your knowledge as well to see what you can remember from our module 1. So if you're all tuned in from Coaching Minds, I know you know the answer to this. So what are the elements that make a coaching conversation rather than just a general chat? Let me know in the comments box. I'm going to give you the answer again in a second. I can see we've got more people tuned in. So hopefully it's new people to coaching and they're ready to take notes. So if you're tuning in right now, this is Coachology in 20. We're going through coaching concepts in 20 minutes. I'm breaking down the basics of coaching for you so you can take this away and start to bring coaching into your everyday life. So what makes a conversation a coaching conversation? Again, there are 3 important elements. Now, for it to be a coaching conversation that we're having, it first of all needs to be focused on the client's agenda. We can't be bringing in our thoughts, our agenda. We can't be leading the client to where we want them to be. Everything needs to be focused and led by the client. It's what they want to talk about. The moment we start to bring in our assumptions, our stories, our experience, and our background is the moment we move it from the client's agenda to our own. So the first element that needs to be present for it to be a coaching conversation is it needs to be led by the client on the client's agenda. The second is that conversation needs to benefit the client. It can't just be one of these conversations that go around in circles or where we just allow our clients to chat without any benefit from that session that we're spending together. A coaching conversation must benefit the client in some way with regards to some self-awareness, self-discovery, a different perspective or a way of looking at things, and some learning from them as well, or a slight change in their behavior, something that benefits the client. So in order for a conversation to be a coaching conversation, it needs to benefit our clients. And the third key element is the conversation needs to be forward focused. And this doesn't always mean that we have to get actions and commitments from the conversation that the client's going to do next. It could just be any next steps that they're going to take from that level of self-awareness and self-discovery that they've received from that conversation. It could just be to step back and reflect and think a little bit more about what they've learned from that conversation with us. So the 3 core elements that make a coaching conversation and not a general chat is client's agenda needs to be led by the client, it needs to benefit the client in some way, and it needs to be forward focused. If you've got anything you'd like to add, any additional stuff you'd like to talk about what makes a coaching conversation, please drop it in the comments box. I would love to know your thoughts. Any questions, please drop them in there as well. Now, when we are new to coaching, and we've got a little bit of introduction to coaching, we also need to understand what we do and what we do not do as a coach. I mentioned earlier on, there's a lot of misconceptions about what we actually do as a coach. And I'm here to clarify them here today with you in these 20 minutes we've got together. But I'm going to ask the experienced coaches that are tuned in. I can see people tuning in now. It's fantastic. It's brilliant. For the coaches that are tuned in, that are experienced, what do you do as a coach? And what do you not do as a coach? Again, let me know in the comments box. I would love to bring your wisdom into this space. What do you do as a coach? What do you not do? Everyone's quiet and shy today. I can see we've got lots of people tuned in, not many comments. So hopefully we've got a lot of new coaches here, people thinking about coaching, but just sat back taking some notes. But let me know, what do you do as a coach? What do you tell your clients or potential clients? I know we've got coaches tuned in here that are experienced. What do you tell your clients you do? How do you set your first sessions? How do you explain coaching to those that are looking for your services? Let me know. Jane is saying, I listen as a coach. Well done, Jane. Thank you for stepping off the mark and bringing a little bit of energy in here. So it's not just all coming from me. Adele saying, I guide and not give advice. I don't advise as a coach. So some beautiful stuff coming in here. Fantastic. And it's what I've got on the slide. So thank you for sharing that, Adele and Jane. So first of all, we guide. We guide our clients. We do not lead our clients. That's very, very important to understand. And there's a big difference between guiding and leading. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. I'm going to give you a little bit of a story and something to think about with regards to guiding and leading, because it's a question that I get asked a lot, especially from new coaches, which is a really good question, is how do I guide clients from where they are to where they want to be without actually leading them? And I'm going to give you an example on how you can think about this in just a moment. The other thing we do is we see our clients as being whole. They are perfectly fine the way they are. They're just not performing to the best of their ability or the best of their potential. What we don't do is we don't see our clients as being broken. We see them as being whole. The other thing we do as a coach, we empower. We empower our clients to take action, to move forward, to do their own actions, their own commitments. We empower them to find their own answers. We don't give them their own answers, and we don't fix problems. We are there to empower as a coach. So thank you, Adele. Let's see if anybody else is sharing what they do and don't do as a coach in the chat. Still not a lot coming through, but we guide, we don't lead. We see our clients as being whole. We don't see them as being broken. We empower, we do not fix. So all these social media gurus that you see out there that's promising you the world, promises are going to fix this, telling you that you're struggling with that, and they're going to give you the best fantasy gold standard XYZ to get you there, they are full of BS. They are not coaching you. They're just using the buzzword of a coach to get you on board, to sell to you. As a coach, we guide, we see our clients as being whole, and we empower them to do the work themselves. So what does that look like? How can we take a few analogies that help us think about this in a different way? Well, the first thing is, as a coach, we are focused on questions, not answers. We live in a world where everybody's looking for the right answer for this, the right answer for that, but we can't get the right answers if we're not asking the right questions. And sometimes we have tunnel vision, we have obstacles in our way, we can't think or see things clearly. So a coach can bring those right questions to help us find the right answers. The second analogy we can look at is the fishing rod analogy. So as a coach, we don't provide fish. We don't make our clients dependent on our services. We actually provide them with a fishing rod, our tools, our frameworks, our techniques into that coaching space that help them catch and fish for themselves. We are there to make our clients independent. We're not there to make them dependent on our services. We provide the fishing rod, not the fish. And then the final thing I want us to think about, so the big thing, the important point for us to take away before I give you the final analogy that I want you to reflect and think upon, even if you are an experienced coach, is that the most important point from today is that as a coach, we do not give advice. And this is one of the biggest eye-openers to anybody that is new to coaching, because generally people are inclined to come to coaching because they give great advice to their friends, great advice to their colleagues, great advice to their family members. And when they start to understand what coaching is, it's actually then, what do I actually do? I don't give advice. How do I help people? Moonfletch is saying, damn, see bad for Sammy. Don't know what that means, Moonfletch, but thank you for being here. Thank you for the comments. That's really wonderful to see you here and spend your time with me. So we don't give advice. We coach. We provide questions. We guide people to their own answers. And how I want you to think about this is I want you to think about an actual coach. So a bus, because essentially a coach works, or a bus works in the same way as we do with coaching as a coach. Now a bus, that just transfers people from point A to point B physically, from geographical location to geographical location. I get my words right. As a coach, we do the same thing, but mentally and emotionally. I want you to think about a trip that you took on a bus. One of the most beautiful bus trips you've done, or if you're on a bus every day, think about that trip. Just think about a bus journey. One of those beautiful bus journeys that I've done in my lifetime is from Naples or Napoli down to the Amalfi Coast. And you can imagine beautiful scenery along that Amalfi Coast. It's a little bit scary, you know, you've got the cliff edge right there. You need a skilled driver to get you along that Amalfi Coast, but the scenes are absolutely beautiful. So I want you to think about a coach journey that you've taken. And how is this structured? You know, you get on a bus, you pay the fare, you know what the fare is beforehand, whether you buy the ticket online, whether you buy it from the conductor on the day. You then may get a reservation seat, but you've got a seat, you find a seat, you sit on the bus, and the driver takes you from Naples down to the Amalfi Coast, or wherever it is that you're thinking of. Now, I want you to imagine if things were slightly different. If you got on that bus and the driver says, I'm going to charge you £200 for this ticket, how are we going to feel? How are we going to think? Oh, you can't sit there, you've got to sit here. You can't listen to that podcast on this bus. You've got to listen to this radio. I've got the top stuff and the top things coming through these speakers on this bus for you to learn. Oh, by the way, we're not going to the Amalfi Coast. I'm going to take you to somewhere else in Italy, a little town that you've never been, because this is going to be better for you. Imagine if we got on the bus and we got charged extra, extortionate amounts. We got taken to somewhere we didn't even have any intentions of going. We got told where we need to sit on that bus, who we need to sit next to. We also get told, you know, taken to somewhere we don't want to be, and get told what we can and can't do on that bus. That is leading. When we're getting told what to do, when we're getting charged extortionate prices, when we're getting told and given advice, that is leading. Guiding, going back to the original bus journey, is we invite our clients on our bus, we ask them where they want to go, we charge them a reasonable fare, we give them the comfort and luxury when they're on our coaching bus, and we take them to where they want to go. So coaching is, the word coach extends, actually we're going to go into the history of coaching next week, but it stems from that transportation from A to B, from geographic location to geographic location. But as a coach, we bring it through our emotion and mentally states, our goals that we have, that we want to achieve. Now, I do have nothing left. I want to thank everybody who's tuned in. If you're watching the replay, I hope this has been useful. So what we have covered today is we've looked at what coaching is. We've looked at a brief demonstration, a brief introduction, definition of coaching. We've looked at the three important elements of coaching. What makes a coaching conversation, the three important elements of a coaching conversation. We've also looked at what we do and do not do as a coach, with a couple of analogies that we can take away to help us explain what we do to our clients. So if you do have any questions, I've got a minute left before I hit the 20 mark. Please drop them in the comments box. What I'd like you to take away from today is that coaching is about moving individuals from, or teams, there's not team coaching as well, I'm not going to go into details of team coaching today, it's about moving people from point A to point B. Point A and B is defined by them. It's where they are right now, where they feel they are, to where they want to go to, through a series of coaching conversations. A coaching conversation must have three core elements. It must, one, be led by the client, the client's agenda. It must benefit the client, and it must be forward focused. And the biggest thing that we do not do as a coach is we do not give advice. We do not lead. We guide clients through tools, exercises, conversations, questions, frameworks. And we empower, we don't fix. And that is what we do as a coach. Thank you so much for spending your time with me on a Monday evening. Thank you, Jane, and thank you to Adele for tuning in. Jane is saying that she loved that bus analogy. It's quite a logical way to think about it, a good way to explain to our clients. So I hope you find that useful and you can pass that information on. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Everybody who's watching the replay, drop your comments below. I'm happy to answer any question you have. Every Monday, 5 p.m., I'm going to be here, different concept, breaking down coaching, helping you understand what coaching truly is. And next week, we're going to go into the history of coaching so you can see where our profession has developed from. I look forward to seeing you all there. Have a wonderful week ahead and a wonderful weekend. Speak to you all very, very soon. Thank you.